Hello, 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 and welcome to Elevate Your Life. This show is being aired on YouTube and on Facebook, and it can also be seen on the Spanglish World Networks, channel 250 and 251. You can download the Zingo TV app on the respective app stores, iOS and Android devices. And while you download that app, please rate and leave a comment for us. The app is totally free and it's totally easy to download. Now, Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire Sticks and Fire TV sticks, as well as Roku and Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. And I am Dr. Michelle Odette, your host for Elevate Your Life. And this show is dedicated to empowering you to reach new levels of success and fulfillment in your life. And so today's topic is about practicing the power of practice kind. Again, the topic is the power of practice kind. And my guest today is Kieran Shines. Hi, Kieran. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great and grateful. Thank you so much, Michelle, for inviting me to be on the show. It's an honor to be here. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Love and light.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And so, let me tell you a little bit about my special guest. Kieran is a facilitator and educator of mindset and transformation. Her mission is to service and to support humanity experience of freedom, I should say, peace, joy, and love. And I am all about those things. And she offers knowledge and guidance in a holistic wisdom to physical, mental, spiritual, and intelligence. Her journey commitments include Ayurveda, Vedanta, yoga, poetry, singing, dancing. She works with you to integrate. So I'm gonna let her pronounce this for me. Come on, pronounce that for
Yeah,
me because
sure.
it wants to
I,
come out.
it's Satchitananda.
Satchitananda. See,
Beautiful.
I
You
knew
got
I
it.
could do it. I knew I could do it. Existence, consciousness, and bliss. And her journey of self actualization shines, and the intention to service the collective consciousness is clear. The portal of awareness reflects moksha freedom. I am so happy to have you here. She has created a framework called Practice Kind. And I'm so excited that I get to talk to you today about your framework. But before we dive into the framework, is there anything else that you would like our audience to know about you?
You know what? That was a beautiful introduction, Michelle. I think yeah, no, that was beautifully said. Thank you for that. It was lovely. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I also want our viewers to know that you and we met a few years ago. We happened to be in a program together. We were cohorts, and we actually just really resonated with one another. And I'm so glad that we did. And I'm so glad that we have stayed in touch over the years and that you get an opportunity to share with our viewers some of the things that I know that you're about and what you have shared with me. And so, with that in mind, I have prepared actually a list of questions that I want to ask you today. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one because I'm so excited just to get into the information. I went to your website, KarenShines.com, and so I was able to just drill down on what you are offering as far as that framework. So my first question to you is, tell us a little bit more about Practice Kind. And could you start by giving us a brief overview of what Practice Kind stands for and how it can be a tool for transformation?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Michelle, for that question. Beautiful. Again, I just want to say it's an honor to be here, and I am super glad to participate and collaborate on this platform. And thanks to everyone who tuned in. Yeah, no, it's my pleasure to speak about this framework. it's like a little tool. I created a little tool to support clients on their journey of life, on the path to transformation and freedom, and really actually anyone who is now choosing to create consciously and is curious, is inspired, is highly motivated, right? Committed to shifting, and is choosing to explore inner self and learning how to navigate inner worlds. And is in that space where they're receiving knowledge, they're receiving wisdom with the intention and consistency to create and experience a life consciously. So, as I navigated my own journey of life, I realized a simple tool that was easy to support me moment to moment in life would be great, would be fantastic. So I created Practice Kind, and everyone really, I would say, in life, in this journey of life, we should all have an assessment process, right? A tool that allows us to tune in, right? To do a check-in, to do a checkup, and to receive a tune-up, right? To
Yes,
self-regulate,
absolutely.
right? To self-regulate and to trigger that transformation, and I would say calibration of consciousness, and calibration of your nervous system, which then the byproduct is freedom, right?
Yes.
And your assessment process really should include other people. It's important, I would say, to reach out to seek support as well. To people who are choosing also to grow, right, to develop themselves, to self-actualize, to cultivate awareness, to live consciously, and these are beautiful people who will support you and guide you on your journey as well. And they're everywhere, right? They show up as you begin as you enter the path, right? Every moment is a teacher.
Yes, absolutely. And I like to say when you are on that particular path of enlightenment, of awareness, and becoming, I, I, I feel like I am one with our Creator. So I typically use my one of my mantras is that I am one with God and God is one with me. And I'd like to say that when you're in that and you're just going through the flow, that you attract the people, places, and the circumstances to you that support where you are. And I have experienced that time after time after
Yeah,
time. So that was good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to get into it a little bit deeper
yeah,
because kind is just not a word. It's more than just a word. It sounds like it is truly a philosophy for living.
yeah.
So, how did you come up with this framework and what, again, tell us a little bit more in terms of what inspired you to share it with others?
Yeah, sure. So maybe I can break it down a little bit. So it's called Practice Kind, and invitation here is that you practice it, right? So let's break it down. It's so case for karma. So karma means action, and this includes your thoughts, your speech, your deeds, right? So the invitation from K is really the opportunity here is to map your current state, right? To map what is, where am I at, right? To acknowledge what you're present to, right? Like, what am I feeling, right? What are my emotions? What are my thoughts? Am I experiencing any feelings in my body, right? What am I thinking? What am I defining? What am I judging? How am I showing up to this experience, right? What is my energy? I think you talked a little bit about that. What is my energy? What is my frequency? What am I
Mhm.
vibrating, right? What am I radiating? What am I sending out, right? So we could use an example. Let's say I get triggered, and it doesn't have to be a trigger. Actually, you can really practice kind moment to moment. But I think most of us are familiar with triggers. So let's say I get triggered, right? And triggers are beautiful, right? They're opportunities to transform. This is the universe saying to me, hey, Kieran, look at all this juicy stuff inside of you, right? And that is coming up, right? That you've accumulated and is showing up now in experience, right? So do a tune in, right? Do a check in. I can see some thoughts. Oh, some thoughts coming up. I feel some anxiety, maybe, right? I'm experiencing some tension, in my throat, right? But I'm also choosing joy, to feel joy, right? I feel excited. I feel very grateful to be here with you. I'm feeling the energy of gratitude, right? This is my frequency, right? This is what I'm choosing, right? So explore, right? The invitation is to explore your current state of being and acknowledge, right? Acknowledge your current state of being when you are willing to see what is showing up, what is arising, by acknowledging the opportunity to transform becomes available to you, right? Because you can
Yes.
see it now, right? So you increase awareness when you note what is happening and direct your awareness inward, right? We want to move inward now, right? So, really, the
Yes.
invitation to your audience is to practice exploring what is arising. And you can go deeper, you can go as deep as you want, right? What is the sensation? What is this feeling? Do I see colors? Do I see light? Do I feel denser? Do I feel lighter, right? This is really a beautiful space, actually, of exploration. Because if as you become more proficient at this, you can really perceive subtleties, very subtle qualities,
Mhm.
as you get clarity, right? So like I said, the tool is really meant moment to moment, not just for triggers. So practice acknowledgement of your state of being. When you meet yourself where you are at, you can choose now to self-regulate and choose to show up, right? And
Yes.
when you choose to show up, there is freedom in that, right? So I will go to the next one. I is for
Yeah.
inquire.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
for inquire, and it's also investigate what is, and imagine what is, right? If you're out of alignment, and your current state of being is not maybe immersed in joy, right? Which is your true nature, right? Your true nature is
Yes.
Sat Chitananda, right? Existence. It is consciousness. It is bliss, right? The masters and the mystics use this word Sat Chitananda to qualify our true nature. And it's a beautiful word to really sound out, right? So if you're
Yes.
out of alignment, then you get to inquire, right? With practice kind, you get to investigate the source of the misalignment, right? So let's use the example again. I said I'm experiencing some anxiety, right? So what's the source of this anxiety, right? My friend anxiety is showing up, right? And it's shown up a few times before, right? I've gone through this exercise myself, so it shows up less and less. But there's still some resonance there of a story, right? And when I
Yes.
explore further, right, when I go look deep into anxiety, there's a fear there. There's a fear, oh, am I going to make a mistake, right? Am I going to screw up, right? Am I good enough to show up for this? So some of these stories come up, right? When I start to investigate, right? When I start to inquire, right? So the opportunity here for me is I get to acknowledge the storyline, right? Because I can see it now, right? I can see it and I can see that it's not the truth, right? I'm here chatting with Michelle, right? I'm not making a
Yes.
mistake, right? What is a mistake anyways, right? You get to define it, right? And I'm good enough, right? I'm showing up. I have gifts, I have talents to share, and I'm choosing that, to do that on this beautiful show, right? So
Yes.
explore, yeah, explore. Just go deep and really seek. A coach or a guide or a healer may be able to also direct some questions so that you can get to the source of whatever is arising, right? So this is how you actually deconstruct, right? This is called reverse engineering. You start at the results and then you go
Mhm.
back to identify the source, right? So it's never the
Yes.
circumstance, right? It's never the event. It's never the person in front of you. The stuff is all inside of you, right? So the
Yes.
opportunity is to explore. And as you explore, as you investigate, and as you let go of anything that's not serving you, the opportunity to imagine shows up, right? Because your frequency now, you start to bring awareness to patterns and habits that do not service you, and you start to now choose your true nature, right? To return home to bliss, to joy, to freedom. And in this beautiful space, the invitation is to imagine, right? To explore imagination.
Yes.
What is the story that I wish to write now? What do I want to script? What is my desire? What do I want? How do I play with the universe, right? So this is how
Yes.
you transform, yeah, when you start to inquire. We go to N. N is neutralize, and neutralize is really, again, anything that's out of alignment, any charges that are being perceived, any emotional charges that are not serving you. The opportunity here now is to normalize it, right? And the fastest way,
Mhm.
Michelle, to normalize anything is to embody the frequency of gratitude, right? Going back to my example, I'm feeling a little bit anxiety, a little bit of, feeling a little bit of density in my throat. So the moment I shift into gratitude, right, I view this as a gift, right? This trigger as a gift. So the moment that I shift into gratitude, I get a release. I feel a release, right?
Yes,
I take a breath
yes,
and I release, right? Really feel into gratitude, right? And when you normalize moment to moment, you're really saying to yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay with whatever arises. I got this, right? So
yes,
as you practice kind, and you'll become more proficient at this. And the last one, D, is for dissolve, right? And again, it's really dissolving anything that does not serve me. This is really where I get to allow energies to flow through, right? I abide in awareness, and in doing so, I can be right. I can be with the experience. I can witness the experience, right? And in that witnessing, there's a lot of freedom, right? I'm not grasping to any concept or any idea. I'm just here. I exist, right? And these
yes.
steps are, yeah, they're not mutually exclusive, right? They overlap to guide you here now to your true nature, right? To your bliss, to your existence, to your consciousness, your Satchitananda. Um, yeah, I think I talked a little bit over about the
You did. That was awesome. I appreciate everything that you just broke down for us. Your framework, Practice Kind, is amazing to me. It is absolutely amazing. So, I want to just kind of ask you some questions about each area that you talked about. So,
yeah,
you mentioned K is for karma. And so, typically when people hear the word karma, they think about what you do to somebody else is going to come back to you. So, can you talk to us about what people believe karma really means versus how you use it as part of your framework?
Yeah, sure. Michelle, I just want to offer, just for your previous question as well, that you asked me, what inspired me to create this and what inspired me to share it with others. So let me just touch a little bit on that. But basically, the creation of this tool is a very intuitive process for me, and it continues to be. I feel like I receive, and it results here. And in my journey, as I began to realize that the way through it is out, but the way out is through it, right? And no matter how painful I may perceive whatever to be, I get
Yeah.
to integrate that experience fully, right? By being with whatever is happening.
Yeah.
And but I also get to be very kind, right, with myself. Some patterns have great momentum, right? And as I listened and I continue to listen to the masters and the mystics, they always say, burn through karma with kindness, right? So that is imprinted in my mind. So I would say the framework evolved from here. When I saw the steps through my own
Okay.
realizations and revelations, I could see kind, right? The acronym, and the tool was born. So I'm inspired to share because it's very simple, it's very easy, and it's very effective. And you can use it moment to moment, for those who are intentional and consistent in their journey and are showing up and choosing themselves. This is an easy and simple tool to use. But okay,
Yes,
let me answer your other question.
yes, I love that. Thank you for getting back to that. Thank you very much. Yes, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, so karma. So being is what I can say here is being human is very dynamic, right? It's so sophisticated, right? It's an incredible, intelligent design, right?
Mhm.
And the opportunity here is to learn to navigate through, right, all the layers of being human, right? And to accelerate this navigation and this exploration is really to acknowledge, right? You start with acknowledging all that you can perceive, right? All that you are aware of in this moment, right? Moment to moment, right? And when you start to do that, something beautiful really happens, right? When you're willing to see, when you're truly honest, when I'm truly honest with myself, and I'm willing to see, right? I
Yeah.
really learn to be okay with whatever is arising, right?
Mhm.
And a simple, consistent, intentional practice of acknowledgement is very transformative, right? When I'm
Mhm.
willing to see, I'm being honest with myself, and I get to acknowledge what is arising, right? And when I start to acknowledge, I really begin to tap into other layers, right? Beyond thoughts, right? and I get to explore and navigate feelings and sensations that arise, right? And really, like, you want to care about how you feel, right? So this tool is really a way to tune in, right? Because over time, what will happen is you will learn in on this journey, what you truly want is to feel good, right?
Yes.
To return
Yes.
home to your true nature. And so karma is really like a definition of it is actions, right? It's your thoughts, your speech, and your deeds, right? So this is
Mm.
what karma is. So the opportunity is for us to now observe, what am I saying, right? What am I thinking? What is the feeling behind this thought, right? What is the belief behind what I'm saying, right? Why did I behave this way, right? Why did I do this, right? What is my action here, right? So it's really beautiful. Like, it's really choosing now to really pay attention, right? To pay attention and to get clear on what am I? How am I showing up? What is my intention? What am I believing? What am I defining? What am I judging? Right?
Yes.
And yeah, and when you start to feel good, right? When you start to acknowledge what doesn't serve you anymore, and you begin to embody those higher frequencies, and you feel good, you feel bliss at all levels of your being, things start to shift quickly. And I'm sure you know this, things shift very quickly for you,
They
because
do.
yeah,
Yes.
because you're no longer attached, right? You're not no longer
Exactly.
grasping to a concept or idea. There's clarity, right? And you can receive
Ab-
now, energies flow through, right? And self
Absolutely.
actualization becomes possible.
Absolutely. The time is going by so quick, and I have so many questions that I want to ask you. So I'm going to have to bring you back on another show because, as a result of you breaking down your framework, Practice Kind, I have some subsequent questions from there, but I have two more that are on my list. So these are not even on my list of questions that I had for you. So when you talked about karma, you talked about getting back to that state of home bliss, joy, happiness, all of those things. And you talked about also triggers. So when we get triggered, then I like to call it being contracted, meaning that you're closing down, you are feeling emotions that are opposite of that bliss and joy and all of that. And when you notice that you're closing down, getting to that I inquiry, that's the portion where I heard you say where you start inquiring about your feelings, what's really going on, to start that investigating process so that you can start working your way out of whatever is not serving you, those unresourceful patterns. Now, did I hear that right? Because I got a few more things I want to ask you centered around that. So did I hear you? Did I capture what you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. The idea is that you want to see, and actually, the universe is always communicating with you, right? Like, what's in front of you is reflecting back your vibratory state of being, right? So,
Yeah.
what you want to do is every time there is a trigger, or even moment to moment, if you're just curious, right? The invite curiosity into this process, right? Why am I saying this? Why did I say this to that person, right? So as you become more proficient, a lot of this will ask, you will start to do this naturally. Actually, you will start to ask yourself questions. Why did I say those words and not those words, right? Why did I get upset? Why am I hurt right now, right? Why am I feeling joy? Even joy, actually, the idea there is you experience it, you let the energy flow through, but don't grasp, right? Don't attach, right? Experience the moment, be very grateful. I had an experience of joy, love it, right? And let it go, right? So it's the same with hurt and with anger. It's just we don't process those. I love how you use the word contraction, right? We don't
Mhm.
process it fully, right? Because sometimes it's painful. Right? It's painful to sit with hurt, with anger. So we don't want to see it, right? We want to avoid it,
Right.
right? So,
Mhm.
but actually, the invitation is no, see it. The more that you can see it, the more that you can heal that. And actually, what happens is you normalize it because you are okay now. When hurt arises now, when you're acknowledging, actually, you're creating some space around it, right? So the next time it arises, you don't follow it, right? You're just here, you see it, you acknowledge, thank you for showing up, but you don't follow it, right? Right now, there might be a lot of momentum, but it's okay. Just start acknowledging, right? This is the first step because you can see now.
Yes, I love that. Awareness to me is everything. And what's more about that, I have gotten into this pattern when I see like a limiting belief show up or something that's not resourceful, like you mentioned earlier, think it, oh, hi, that's my old friend showing up. And then I like to talk back to it, like, okay, not today, not today. So go on your way. And I love the fact that you mentioned gratitude because I feel like gratitude is the quickest way to start elevating your frequency, to get your frequency up that ladder, if you will. And so thank you for saying that. Also, someone said something interesting to me the other day. So they talked about triggers. We tend to talk about triggers, and they asked the opposite question. What about glimmers? What about glimmers, having situations that are joyful so you can savor those particular moments? To me, we're so prone to the negative. That's how we've been wired, so that is the first thing that we see. And so I challenge people to look for the glimmers.
Yeah,
Be grateful
100%.
for, yes, be grateful. So when you said, when you, in the introduction, when you said that you were doing great and you were grateful, I was like, yes, that is it. If we work to stay on that level of love, gratitude, etc. Just, I feel like you said, feeling good is the number one priority, feeling great. And if we can stay in that vibration, our lives would be so much more rich. And you talk about freedom. So I want to talk about freedom too, because based on your practice kind, I want to know, as far as the freedom aspect. Freedom is a word that so many people resonate with. So, how does your practice kind framework contribute to the experience of freedom, and what does freedom mean to you personally?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great question, Michelle. It's a great question. So, freedom. So, the way I view freedom is it's really something. I would say that it really cannot be defined, right? It's not a concept. When something is a concept, then it's there's a label, right? And in labeling, there's a definition, right? And
Mhm.
when there's definition, there is binding, right? And when it's bound, it's not free, right?
Yes.
And it's not it's when it's bound, something is bound. It's also separated from the whole, right?
Yes.
It's like for instance, this is orange, right? This is orange,
Yes.
this is black
Yes.
with dots, right? So you're already
Yes.
labeling, you're already comparing, labeling, defining, right? Separating, right? So I to me, freedom is a knowing, Michelle. It's an understanding that
Mhm.
I'm not this and I'm not that, right? And this is very much in alignment with the masters and the mystics. There is actually a tool called neti neti, which is I'm not this, I'm not that. You keep going like this until you get to a space where you're completely uninformed, right? It's completely uninformed. And I would say that space, where I'm none of these things that are separated from the whole, right?
Mhm.
But I'm the whole of it, right? When you can see what is in front of you as yourself, right?
Yes.
Truly as yourself, this is freedom, I would say. It's completely uninformed. I simply show up now to for the
Mm.
experience, and in freedom, all that is left to do is express. Right, express the choosing of what you choose, which I would say in a space of freedom, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of love, a lot of bliss,
Yes.
and you express love for everything, right? To me, true love um, is really when you don't register separation, right, or any
Mm.
comparison. I'm just here in this moment for this experience, and I see you as an extension of myself or as a part of me.
Yes.
This to me is true love, right? And this is
Yes.
also such a tananda, right? This is such
Yeah.
a beautiful way to describe your true nature, right? You're of the nature of the quality of existence, of consciousness, of bliss, right? I exist here and now. I am consciousness that is self-aware, right? Witness consciousness, right? And to me,
Yes.
this space is freedom. You're not grasping to any idea, any concept, any quality. You're simply here showing up for experience.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that. Oh, that was so, so good. And so we only have a couple of minutes here. So
Yeah.
let me ask you about your children's series book. So you have children's series books on consciousness for children and their parents. So can you tell us about it and how do you use it in terms of the elements of the practice kind tool, if you will? If you need me to repeat that, I can.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. Yeah, it's a children's series, and yeah, it's called Consciousness for Children and Their Parents. And I've published three books now. The three books are called My Friend Maya, Karma and Dharma, Swimming with Sadhana, and they're available on my website. The series is really about a little girl, and her name is Sunny, and she's on the path, right, of self exploration, self discovery, and on the path, it's kind of like Dorothy, from Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
She meets friends. So she meets Maya, and she meets Karma, and she meets Dharma, and she meets Sadhana, and they teach her lessons on the path. And she learns the lessons. She integrates the lessons, and she learns to enjoy the path, right, the journey. And yes, it's very much aligned with the elements of practice kind, because she's also acknowledging. She's learning how to acknowledge. She is learning how to be accountable. She's also learning to accept, and she's learning to allow the flow of life.
Oh, that is so beautiful. So tell us where we can contact you. And again, give us your website so that our listeners can purchase those books.
Yeah, sure. So you can get in touch with me, like Michelle said, through my website, and it's kieranshines.com. So it's www.kiranshines.com. And my email is kieran@kieranshines.com. And on there, on the website, you can also explore the framework, and yeah, and feel free to connect with me. This framework is available also for other coaches to learn and integrate in their own practice as well. It's something that I'm actually working on. Michelle is actually creating a book
Okay.
on practice kind, on the framework itself,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's available really to any guide and healer and coach that would like to adopt a framework for their practice.
Oh, that is wonderful. Yeah, so we'll have to talk about that a little bit more. And so again, if you look at her name there, it is hername.com where Kieran can be reached, if you will. And so it was such a pleasure having you on this show. And lastly, what is next for you? What is next besides creating the book around Practice Kind?
Oh, I have so many little seeds that I've planted. When you're in the space of imagination, when you reach these frequencies, you're here to really explore and play with the universe, right? So plant as many seeds as you desire, as you desire, and as you wish. So for me, I'm still creating two more books for the series, the children's series. I am creating
Yeah.
also, yeah, the practice kind. Framework. I'll put that into a book as well. And Michelle, like, I'd love to travel more, and I realized with my coaching practice and delivering webinars, I can do that. I can go to Italy, and I can go to
Yeah,
France, and I can go to Kenya, and I can go to India, and I can
exactly.
travel, and I can coach.
Yes, you can. And I'm out of state right now, and we're here. So I actually love it. So thank you so much. You offered so much value today for our listeners, and I look forward to having you back on the show. And so we will discuss that. And so we're going to go ahead and close out our show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Remember to download the Zingo TV app. This show can be heard on the Spanglish radio network, if you will, and you can check it out on spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World you can watch it, I should say, hear it, read it, download it, and like it. And thank you again. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
All
Michelle. Thank you,
right.
everyone. Love
You
and
are
light.
so welcome. Thank you. All righty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.